Welcome to Friday Fire Up. We are certainly psyched as always, but this has been a particularly great week. I would say we have a lot of momentum going. I mean, I say that every week, but it is happening every single week. I feel like we're building more and more every single week. So we do have some exciting updates that I want to share with you all before we head into and turn the time to our guest speaker today. So first and foremost, I'll speak to this. Many of you I know are incorporating this in a work site, which is fantastic. You have free leads there, but a lot of you are wanting to supplement that with some leads. And we've had a little bit of a rough go with some of the leads early on this year, but we've been vetting several different sources. And we feel like we're making some very, very good progress with the source we have right now. So it's too early to declare victory, I'll say that. But so far, our sale rate is pretty phenomenal this week, really the last 2 weeks. But I'll tell you a little bit about it, what we're looking at. So the company that we're looking at, and we're going to be able to get these at a discounted rate for everyone too coming up shortly. They typically see a 10 to 12% sell rate of all leads bought, which is not that's not too shabby of a rate. But the thing that, well, there's many things that impressed me. Another rate that really impressed me was this, is of their leads, they typically see a 10 to 20% inbound call rate, meaning the leads call you, which is phenomenal. So you may wonder how in the heck they're able to do that. It's because what they do, rather than you putting in an order and saying, hey, I want 20 leads, and then all of a sudden 20 leads show up for you, what happens is you say, I want 20 leads, and then they build a campaign on your behalf. So they need to meet with you. They need to get a little bit of information. They build a campaign profile. So they'll take a professional picture of you. You send them a professional picture of yourself is what it is. Your NPN number, information about yourself. And what happens is as they post these leads or the Facebook ads, as people click through, they're answering 13 to 15 pieces of information about themselves. But when they click enter, what happens is the lead source will send them your information. They'll say, hey, thank you for your interest. You've been assigned to Bo Nylene. Here's his mugshot. Here's his NPN number. By the way, we also suggest that you give him a call right now. So your phone number is put in there. You were texted as well immediately as soon as the lead comes in. You're notified, and we're seeing so far so very good with these leads. So we'll give you more information. We want to make sure we vet this out for a little bit longer before we turn everyone loose on them. We do also have, Dave, if you want to speak to this one, we do have some MedSup training coming soon, but if you want to speak to a little bit about why we're looking at that, Dave, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. So you guys are all contracted with us for tier one Aflac's right FE product, which we've been selling the heck out of, but it also includes your ability to sell MedSup. So MedSup, new world for a lot of folks, but there's a couple really cool things about Aflac's MedSup. So number one is MedSup is, I know a lot of you guys have sold Aflac in the past. So with Aflac, super stable rates, the rates stay the same forever and ever and ever. With MedSup, they don't. They change every single year based off of what's happening. And so Aflac entered the MedSup space, same time they entered a FE space in a partnership with Aetna, and launched in 2022, but it was only in a handful of states in 2022. So there was no rate change for Aflac in 23. And more states throughout 2023 last year, we rolled out to the rest of the country, sold 55 million or so in MedSup, which sounds like a really big number, but it's not in the MedSup world. And because there wasn't a huge volume of MedSup, they didn't have to experience the same rate increase that others have. So if you look at the top tier MedSup players, right? So not some little no-name brand, you start looking at the AARPs, the Cignas, the big brands. Aflac in just about every single zip code in the country, and about 85+% of them were ranked 1 or 2 in price. And they were 1, 2, or 3, and they were 1, 2, or 3 in about 95% of zip codes in the country. So the ability to go out to the senior space and use a big brand like Aflac that has a lot of brand awareness and a lot of high likability scores, with a product like Aflac with amazing commissions. We've got a pro with Marcy on the call. I see Marcy on my screen. A pro with Marcy. We were actually talking to her about rates and commissions. Fantastic commissions, fantastic rates, and a big brand. That's a big splash. So if you've thought about selling MedSup or you've been selling on other carriers MedSup, we are going to be doing some training over the summer. We have Craig Andrews who's going to be joining us to do the training for us. He was really kind of the he is really the go-between between Aflac and Aetna, really kind of the sort of the founder of our MedSup. He's going to be the one who's going to do the training for us. So if you have no interest in that, don't worry about it. No stress. Your contract does cover it, but we're going to make sure you guys are armed and feel comfortable if that's what you want to do, as well as we're Marcy Otis, who's on the call with us today, who's been selling the heck out of this stuff. She's going to kind of help work with our team to help be a point person for you guys. So anyway, exciting news on MedSup. MedSup season's coming, Medicare season's coming, guys. And it is just like you guys are used to open enrollment season being nuts. It's nuts in the Medicare space too. So we're excited to get you guys teed up, lined up, and ready to go. Because again, even in your worksite groups, there's an awful lot of folks over age 65 who are still working, and great opportunity for you guys.
Very cool. I'm going to go out of order a little bit here. So many of you know this. If you don't, I don't know where you've been, or you've already added me to your junk folder and email, which I also would not be surprised with. But we got 4 weeks left. 4 weeks left for our Alaska convention qualification. So again, just to reiterate that, 14 FE apps in the Q2 get you that 7-day cruise in Alaska that set sail August 30th. Jesse had a great idea this morning as we were talking on our leadership call, and he threw this out. If you are very interested in qualifying for that trip, reach out to us, schedule some one-on-one time, because we have a few tricks up our sleeve that we can help tee you up with that we're not ready to bring to everyone. So if you are interested, do reach out to us. We want to see as many people on that dang ship as we possibly can. And lastly, we do have an amazing guest on with us today, Brendan Quinn from Corebridge. Thank you for joining us, Brendan. Before I turn it to him, though, I do want to turn the time to Bo, because I know we have many of you getting your contracts, but many of you are not seeing your email from Joelia. So Bo, if you'll walk through really quickly the SureLC, where they can go to get their contracts in. And man, I just had a brain fart there for a sec.
Yeah, so when you guys should be getting an invite from Joelia for SureLC after your Aflac Tier 1 is set up and initiated. If you haven't got your Aflac Tier 1, I ran into somebody the other day that hadn't got theirs. It means that either one, you haven't gone to our website and filled out the form requesting you want to contract with us, or two, it's stuck somewhere. Reach out to Jesse and myself, and we can figure that out and get you plowed away. But when you get into SureLC or get your invite to SureLC, you're going to do like you do every other portal. You're going to register, log in. Dang it. Well, let me do it anyway. There we go. Okay, good. Okay, so when you log in, this is kind of like Everwell, for those of you who are familiar with Aflac. The left under my profile, you just got to fill all of this information out. So contact info, fill out all your contact info. Doing business as, fill this out. Bank info, fill this out. Licenses, fill this out. Well, it should be able to import most of your licenses anyway, but if you're missing some, you can add them. If you need to update some, if you need it, whatever. Are you FINRA? If you don't know what FINRA is, the answer is no. Questions. Answer your underwriting questions or your background questions. What's your history look like? What's your, do you need any CE training? So you guys do get your anti-money laundering training for free through this portal. So if you're not doing the Aflac, moving forward with Aflac one, or not, I guess it's not moving forward, your annual Aflac training, then you can do this here. E&O insurance is discounted through here. So if you need E&O insurance, you can do that. Sign any documents. So I've added my documents here, voided check, right? So different things that might be required. Now, the important part, though, is under contracting. So once you've done all that, you need to go into contracting under requests. And then this is where you're going to see, okay, so I have Sagicor Life, which has been sitting here forever. Jesse, can you look into that for me? But if it says at carrier, for some reason it just gets stuck, you guys. That means it's probably done and you've gotten your invite. So I have my AIG Corebridge, which we'll hear about today, my old Great Western, which we no longer do, Transamerica. You will not see your Aflac Tier 1 in here. But if you're needing to, at producer, create request is how you guys can go in and find the carrier that's available to you. So here's all the carriers that we have set up for you guys. Now, some carriers might have a different commission structure than others. So if you're not sure, just choose the ones that we're going with mainstream. So that'd be Transamerica, Corebridge. Transamerica, Corebridge. Boop, period. Sagicor is a carrier that we picked up for single pay. So if you're working with financial advisors and they're calling you up saying, hey, I have a client that needs to get rid of $60,000 right now, single pay, like great option there. You pay once, policy's paid up, they own it for life. So, but anyway, so that's how you do that. And then you just, once you pick your carrier, like if I do Corebridge here, am I doing a transfer? So have I contracted with another company? You have to transfer it to us. Or am I starting new? That's where you do contract. And then you just go next, answer the questions, done. Now, some of these contracts, you guys, are requesting additional information. You can just check that in the processes here. You'll get an email. If you're not responding and filling out that information, then I guess, sorry, go in and check it and then let us know and we can help you through. But we're doing our best to try to get try to help you guys get this process going. But a lot of you guys are going in and either not requesting this, your contract, or you're not filling out all the contract, and so it's getting stuck. So just FYI, that's how you do it. If you need help with this process, call me, text me, email me, and I will walk you guys through this step by step and help you through it.
Yeah, and this is our GI product. So we want you to get this in and have it in your pocket so you don't lose a sale. But if you have any type of downline, you have an agency or you have agents underneath you, you have to get it done, so otherwise it holds them hostage. The downline cannot contract unless the upline has. So if you don't do that, you're being bypassed, and your agents are going to be able to sell, and that commission skips you. So please make sure that your team you're ready to go, and your team knows that you're going to help with that. So. Yeah. Again, any questions, let us know, but we know you're a great team leader, and so be the first one to get contracted. Get going. Everyone on this call should already have that invite or already have been in Sure LC for their Transamerica. So just log back in and get that AIG done.
Perfect. Thanks, fellas. I know that we still field a lot of questions of I'm not seeing the email, whatever. Don't wait on that email if you don't want to. Now you know how to go in and jump into it. And we wanted you to be able to see that because we have quite a few of you that have completed your Corebridge contract. So we wanted to make sure that we had a pro on here to walk you through the product, how amazing it is. They certainly have the best bonuses that we've ever seen yet. So without much ado, Brendan, I will turn the time to you, my friend. Thank you for joining us and imparting your wisdom.
Yeah, appreciate that, Paul. Thanks for the warm intro. So my name is Brendan. I am a point of contact to you guys over here. So anytime you need help writing with Corebridge, please reach out to me. I'm gonna try and share my screen here so that you guys can get my contact information. But I am the internal wholesaler. And then Roberto is also a point of contact to you guys as well, if you have not met him yet. But between the two of us, we should be able to help you guys out anytime you are struggling to use an application or need any help. So feel free to jot down our numbers. I will also come back to this slide at the end in case anybody did not get a chance to write down the phone numbers. But again, myself and Roberto, two very good point of contacts to you guys anytime you need help. But the first thing we like to touch on, obviously, is the name change from AIG to Corebridge, right? We were AIG for close to 100 years. And then about a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago, we changed names to Corebridge Financial. So this was not a buyout or anything like that. Corebridge is a brand new company, almost like a spinoff of AIG. So AIG separated the life and retirement business, which means life insurance, annuities, retirement services are now going to be under the new name of Corebridge Financial. But just so you guys know, American General is still the underwriting and the issuing company. So when your client gets a policy in the mail, it is still going to be underwritten and issued from American General Life Insurance. And that was the case while we were AIG as well. So if you see AIG or you see Corebridge, that's going to be an interchangeable term. It's the same company, it's the same products. So just keep that in mind as well. But moving forward, we will be going as Corebridge Financial. And we have final expense products. That is our bread and butter. That's where we want to help you guys out. I know you guys do a lot of FE business as well. But we really do have a great suite of products to cover every client in that 50 to 80-year-old age range. So they have to be 50 to 80 in order to get one of these products. But we have a simplified issue whole life option, which is an instant decision every time. They're going to answer some questions on the e-app. We ping the database and give you a decision right on the spot. So if they're healthy enough, they're going to qualify for level day one or immediate coverage, right? That's the best case scenario. Like a preferred client, it's the cheapest premium we can give them, and it's immediate day one coverage. They don't have a 2-year waiting period or anything like that. And that one's called Simply Now Legacy Max. If they do not qualify for that, they can still get the simplified issue that will have a 2-year graded death benefit. And that one's called Simply Now Legacy. So this is going to be like the middle priced item out of the group, right? You have like option 1, option 2, and then option 3 is if they get declined from simplified issue. Maybe they're not healthy enough to qualify. We also have a guaranteed issue whole life, which has no health questions at all. Everybody qualifies for that one. That one is also going to have a graded 2-year death benefit, and that one's going to be more expensive out of the group here, right? So option 1 is the cheapest premium the client pays, like a preferred client. Option 2 is going to be like a standard client. Most clients should qualify for that. And then option 3 is for the substandard type category. So if they have some serious health conditions or something going on from a medical standpoint, you're always going to be able to offer them some sort of coverage with us at Corebridge, right? So you're never going to walk away from this sale and say, you know, unfortunately, Mrs. Smith, you're not healthy enough. I can't find coverage for you. You're going to be able to cover everybody that you meet with. Hopefully they get simplified issue, but at the very least, get them on some guaranteed issue, just because we all know some coverage obviously is better than no coverage, right? But the process, this is one of the things we got really excited about. With this new simplified issue, we made the process super easy, and it was all agent oriented. So we thought with the agents go through on a daily basis, right? All the appointments you have to do, clients you have to meet with, and the fact that you don't have a ton of time to chase down these appointments after, you know, you get in touch with the client one time, it may be hard to get back in touch with them again in the future if you have to follow up. So what we do is we give you an instant underwriting decision every single time on the application, and that's always going to be a final answer, which means we're not going to come back to you in 2 or 3 days and tell you that we reviewed your case and we changed our decision, and now you have to go try to call the client back and tell them that the price went up. That's never going to happen to you with this product. So every underwriting decision comes instantly on the application, and it's always going to be a final answer. And they put the health questions right at the very beginning of the application. So very early on in the e-app, you will know if the client's going to qualify or not. That way you don't waste a ton of time filling out a full application just to find out at the end that they're going to get declined, right? We do the health questions first before we ask for payment information, before we ask for beneficiary info, signatures, any of that stuff. But just make sure the client's going to qualify. And then if they like the offer, then we can continue and complete the rest of the application. But that just saves you guys a lot of time. And then my favorite part is if you're going to get anything other than a level immediate coverage offer, let's say they get a graded offer or if they get declined, we're going to give you the due to reason why it's getting graded or declined, which is huge for you because now it gives you the information to maybe pivot to another carrier if they're more lenient on that condition than we are. You know, now you know exactly where to go. Or at the very least, you can have the conversation with the client and say, look, you know, due to conditions X, Y, and Z, we're going to have a 2-year waiting period on this product. But it gives you all the tools that you need. You don't have to wait 2 or 3 days, you know, for an underwriter to get back to you and tell you the reason why it was graded or the reason why it got declined. You're going to know right there at the point of sale. And then when it comes to payment options, we are very, very flexible with how the client can pay for the policy. So we're going to accept your EFT, which is like a regular bank draft with an accounting routing number. We also take credit cards and debit cards, and we accept Social Security debit cards. So those are going to be like Direct Express cards. A lot of clients will use those in order to fund these policies, But the good news for you is you're going to get the full commission regardless of which payment method they choose. So you don't have to incentivize them to use bank draft. If they're more comfortable putting it on credit card, let them use the credit card. You're going to get the full commission every time. And then it's also flexible on how they pay for it, because the initial payment can be different than the recurring payments. So if they want the first payment to go on credit card just to get the policy started, and then they have Social Security pay for it from then on, they can do that, right? But just giving them that second option just to help get the first payment in and get the policy on the books really does go a long way. And then with the scheduling, especially on these Social Security ones, a lot of clients get paid on the 1st or the 3rd of every month, and that's easy. We'll bill it on the 1st or 3rd. But sometimes they get paid on like the 2nd Tuesday of each month. And that number day is going to change from one month to the next one. But we've designed it now so you can set it up so it's always going to draft on the 2nd Tuesday of each month, regardless of which number day that is, right? But that just helps keep these policies in force. It prevents missed payments, lapses, that kind of stuff. And then because these underwriting decisions are always a final answer, these policies can be issued and placed in force immediately. So if that client at your meeting is willing to make that initial payment, you're going to walk out of that meeting with the client actively having a policy in hand. And you know you don't have to follow up. You don't have to worry about telephone interviews or anything like that. And that sale's already been completed. But here's a few underwriting niches where we feel like we really separate ourselves from some of those other final expense carriers out there. But these conditions on the right are going to be eligible for level or immediate day one coverage. So we're very lenient on diabetes. As long as that A1C is an 8.6 or less, they should get level coverage. What I've noticed with diabetes is it typically comes down to insulin dependency. So if they take daily insulin, they usually get a simplified issue, but the graded offer. If they do not take daily insulin, it's usually level day one coverage or best rating, right? Arthritis is one of those things. We do not ask about arthritis, and we do not underwrite for arthritis. So there's no penalty there if they have any kind of arthritis. And that also covers neuropathy as well. I know it's a totally different condition, but we also do not underwrite or check for neuropathy or diabetic neuropathy. So just a couple good underwriting niches there. And then stage 1 cancer, this is our biggest sweet spot. As far as I know, we are the only carrier on the market that's willing to do day 1 coverage to a client that actively has cancer. Now, it's not all cancers, like brain cancer, for example, does not count.
Wait, repeat that again, Brendan, because that is massive. That's huge.
Yeah. So
keep in mind, we got a lot of guys who here that sell Aflac, and Aflac is a cancer insurance company. So
gotcha. So yeah, it's not all cancer, so make that very clear. But it is a pretty long list of them, especially some of the more common ones like breast cancer, testicular cancer, melanoma, things like that. As long as it's stage 1 or stage 0, that client is still going to qualify for level day 1 coverage or best rating that we can offer them. And Dave,
so Brendan,
can
I ask a question real quick along those lines? So let's just say I am an Aflac agent. I have somebody who calls me with a cancer claim. As long as it's one of those particular cancers and they're in stage 1 or 0, they could turn around and sell them a final expense, a life plan right now. They're diagnosed with one of those cancers, as long as it falls in that pool. Correct?
Yep, correct. So they can be actually
diagnosed. You guys get that?
We had a client that
awesome.
got diagnosed in January, and in February, they were able to sign up for level immediate coverage 1 month later. So it's out there for you guys. Definitely take advantage of that. And then some stable coronary conditions, as long as they've been treated by stent or bypass surgery, can also qualify for that level day 1 coverage as well. But just keep in mind,
guys, you think about a critical illness plan, people who are using these plans that you guys may see claims come across. What a nice, easy cross-sell this is with the product Brendan's talking about.
Yeah, and that's really the times you think about buying life insurance, right? It's either somebody passed away and you saw the family, either how great it was to have a life insurance or how harmful it can be to not have coverage. Or the other time you think about it is when you get diagnosed with something. And you start thinking about the end and you go, oh, now I got cancer. Let me start getting my ducks in a row here for my final expense and my burial services and things like that. So that's really where these products come into play, especially if they have a cancer diagnosis. You can sign them up for level day 1 coverage here. That's unheard of in the final expense business. So exciting news there for you. But again, there's never going to be any need for additional underwriting. No telephone interviews, no medical exams or anything like that. You don't have to ever go back and forth with an underwriter, right? These decisions are always a final answer. So you're not going to be able to challenge the decision. Like if the client takes a medicine for back pain, but it's also used for diabetes, we may see that as diabetes, right? Just because that's what the medicine is primarily used for. But you're not going to be able to challenge the answer. You can certainly bring it to our attention and we can see if we can make adjustments, for future cases. But that case is always going to give you a final answer, which is good and bad, right? Because the good news is, we're never going to change the answer or come back to you in a couple of days with a new offer. But the bad news, obviously, is if you are getting, penalized for a drug that they take, maybe for a different reason, unfortunately, that's just going to be the way the system reads it. But we do not use the MIB when we are checking our medical sources. So we use a source called Milliman, and then we're fact checking the way they answered our health questions on the e-app with their Milliman prescription history over the last 7 years. But the MIB is not something that we pull any information from, nor do we report out to the MIB. So if you have a client and you're going from carrier A to B to C and you're getting the same decision every time, they may be finding something in that MIB report. It's worth it to maybe swing them over to Corebridge and see if you can, find them some better coverage. You may get the same answer, you may not. At least it's just a different opinion or a different set of eyes, kind of looking at it. And then alternatively, we do not report out to the MIB. So if you start with us and maybe they get declined or they get a graded offer, you were hoping for level coverage, you can still go pivot elsewhere and they don't know that the client was offered graded or declined from us because we don't report that information out to them. So just something to keep in mind there. But this is the most exciting part, right, is the agent bonus. So we are running a bonus each quarter of the year. So 3 months at a time, right? We're now in Q2. We're finishing up Q2 here at the end of June, but it will reset again on July 1st. Now they are saying that the bonus numbers may not go all the way up to 8,000 next quarter. So take advantage of this one while it's here. But every time you sell 5 simplified issue policies, you're going to get a little bit of extra money from us as the carrier. So this is in addition to your commission. But once you sell your 5th policy, you're going to earn a $500 bonus. If you sell 5 more policies, we're going to pay you another $2,000. So now you've sold 10 policies and you made $2,500 in bonus money. If you sell 5 more, we're going to pay you another $2,500. So now you sold 15 policies, you made $5,000, right? And you sell 5 more, we'll pay you another $3,000. So in total, if you can sell 20 policies in a 3-month, window, you're going to get an $8,000 agent bonus. That's in addition to your commission that you're earning anyway from those 20 sales. And it is both the Simply Now Legacy Max, which remember was the level coverage, and the Simply Now Legacy Graded. So both options are going to count towards the bonus. The only time it's not going to count for the bonus is if they have to use guaranteed issue. That's just a different product. We're really promoting the simplified issue. It's a newer product for us, which is why they have this bonus going on. But that's a really good incentive for you guys, especially because it's not an all or nothing bonus. So anybody that's been selling simplified issue this year, anything you've sold from April 1st through the end of this month of June will count towards this second quarter bonus. So if you've already sold 2 or 3, maybe sell 2 or 3 more and see if you can get that $500 bonus. If you haven't sold any, I know we only have a few weeks left this quarter, but again, it's not an all or nothing bonus. So if you can get to 10 sales, you're going to make an extra $2,500. And then you can
get
to
15 sales, get their money and go on a cruise with us. That sounds like a great plan.
Absolutely. So I'm sure these probably count towards the cruise bonus too, I would assume, right, Dave?
Absolutely.
All right, so this is just a quick little recap of what we covered already. But with Corebridge, you're going to have a product solution for all those clients that you're meeting with. Again, they have to be in the 50 to 80-year-old age range, but we have 2 products built into that simplified issue. It's one application, you answer the health questions, and they're either going to get immediate level coverage or they're going to get a graded offer. And then if they can't qualify for either of those, we also have that guaranteed issue as your go-to when needed. So you're not going to lose the sale, or you don't have to pivot to another company and explain to them who a totally different carrier is, right? You can keep everything with Corebridge, keep it all easy. And if they don't qualify for simplified issue, just pivot to our guaranteed issue. And again, some coverage is always going to be better than no coverage. Right. But then the process that we did with that instant underwriting decision every time, and the fact that that's always a final answer, I can't stress that enough, how important that is. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced it, but if you get an underwriting decision and you're with the client and it looks like they're going to get a level offer, everybody's happy, we complete it. And then 2 or 3 days later, an underwriter says, unfortunately, we reviewed your case and now we're going to give you a graded offer and the price has gone up. Now, A, good luck trying to get a hold of the customer again. And then B, trying to keep that sale when you already told them it was going to be this price and now the price has changed, right? That's never going to happen with us with this product. And then the fact that underwriting decision comes so early on in the application, just to save you guys time. There's no sense in filling out all the beneficiary and the payment information and all this stuff. Let's find out if they're going to qualify first. If they like the offer, then we can continue on with the rest of the app. And then again, if you're not getting level coverage, if it's a graded or a decline, we're always going to provide you that due to reason why it's getting graded or declined. And again, you have that information now to make the next best play and try and save the sale. Hopefully it stays with us at Corebridge, maybe pivot to our guaranteed issue, but maybe you go to another carrier that you know is more lenient on that condition than we are, where we might not be the best underwriting niche for every scenario. Certainly cancer, I feel like we are, but for other conditions, there may be carriers out there that are more lenient than we are. But at least now you know exactly where to go, so you can close the sale with the client. Again, hopefully it's with us, but you have that info. And then multiple ways to maximize your earnings. We did increase our commissions last year, so we should be right at the very top of your comp grid when it comes to final expense carriers that pay the most money. And then in addition to that, we obviously have this very lucrative $8,000 agent bonus that is going to continue on, right? So Q3 and Q4, you have a chance to do these again. Again, it may not be 8,000. Rumor has it it's going to be about 5,000 next quarter. But they told us that going into Q2 and they kept it at 8,000. So who knows what they're going to do on that one. I will definitely make sure that you guys know with the new bonuses, starting on July 1st. But just know that there will be something very similar to what we have currently. But here's a couple of QR codes for you guys. If you have not yet registered on our Connect website, which is your agent portal with us at Corebridge, go ahead and scan this first QR code. That will bring you to the registration form. You really just need your writing code in order to complete the process. And if you don't know what your writing code is with Corebridge, let me know and I'll be able to find that information for you. If you already are registered on Connect, you can go ahead and scan this third QR code here, and that will take you to the e-app where you find the quoting tools and the application itself whenever you're ready to write. And then this middle section is our agent resource site. So this will have like training videos. It has brochures, little marketing pieces, things like that, just to help you kind of understand the product a little bit more in detail. But again, I am also open if you have any questions or if you guys need somebody to reach out to kind of help you walk through your first application, reach out to myself or Roberto, and we would be happy to assist you guys. But that is the end of my PowerPoint here. So Dave, we can open it up to some Q&A if you want to, or whatever.
That'd be great, guys. Any questions you guys have, either feel free to unmute yourself and ask Brendan anything you guys want to at this point, or if you're maybe slightly shy, you can feel free to type it into the chat and we'll go ahead with that. Brendan, you may have just crushed it. They're all in awe.
It's a lot of good information.
I was gonna say, where's our boy Joel? I was gonna say Joel's my man. He's not shy. Joel, unmute yourself, pal, and go ahead and ask your question.
Simple question on the stent and bypass. Is there a length of time that it has to have passed?
There is. Let me pull my underwriting guide because that was one thing I was kind of debating on whether or not to share anyway.
Yeah.
So give me 1 second here. How do I get out of here? Let's see. Share window. All right, so this is our underwriting guide, and this is going to really help you guys kind of predetermine if your client's going to qualify for the simplified issue or if they would get declined and you have to go to guaranteed issue. But this covers health conditions, and they go from A to Z alphabetically. So I like to jump to cancer just because it has one of everything. But if the client tells you that they have brain cancer, right, we check the chart and we see that that's going to get declined. So you just quote them on guaranteed issue and you go straight to the guaranteed issue product. There's no sense in trying for simplified. They're going to get declined anyway. But if they tell you that it's breast cancer and it's stage 1, we see that that's going to lead to level coverage. So we can quote them on the level price. We're going to go through the simplified issue application, and we should expect a level offer after we answer those health questions. If their breast cancer is stage 2, we see that that leads to a graded offer. So we're still going to apply for simplified issue, but you want to quote them the graded price to set the expectation, and then go through the application, and we should get a graded offer when it's all said and done. But to answer your question about the stent and bypass surgery, let me see. That should be in heart condition, I believe, right? So you scroll down to H, we find hearts, stenting, and bypass. So as long as it's been more than 24 months and they're non-tobacco, that will lead to level coverage with a stent. Bypass surgery, same thing, 24 months non-tobacco. If it's within 6 months of the diagnosis, that will get declined. And if they're a tobacco user, it would lead to a graded offer.
Awesome.
Now, one
So-
thing to keep in mind when you do look at this underwriting guide, if they have multiple conditions that say level, that could eventually cause it to kick to a graded offer. So like level plus level plus level doesn't always equal level, right? Because these are little red flags in your underwriting. Now, the condition on its own is level coverage, but if you combine enough of them, it may cause it to flip to graded. Or if they have multiple conditions that are going to be listed as graded, depending on which ones they are, some obviously are more severe than others, but that could ultimately cause it to give you a decline. So just something for you guys to keep in mind when you're looking at this underwriting guide. This is for these conditions on their own. So if you do combine them, you just want to set the expectations. So if you see that your client has multiple graded conditions, you can quote them on the guaranteed issue and say, look, I know I can get you coverage for this price because everybody qualifies for guaranteed issue. But let's go ahead and apply for simplified issue and see if we can get that same coverage for $30 less a month. Right. And then it's always an instant underwriting decision. So if you do go through the application and they get declined, you can always pivot right back over to guaranteed issue and sign them up on that one. So it does not affect their ability to buy the other product if they don't qualify for the first one. So when in doubt, apply for the simplified issue, let the system make that decision for you. And worst case scenario is they get declined. You can always pivot back over to guaranteed issue.
So Brendan, I'm going to ask a clarifying question.
Sure.
So I assume like even on brain cancer, if it's been more than 24 months, so if it's 5 years ago, they're still eligible for level.
See, I don't know on that one. So those, if they don't specify it on the chart here, I always say use your best judgment on what you think that would be. But I feel like a brain cancer, even if it was 5 years ago, would still be a pretty serious condition. So I can't imagine that would get level coverage, but it certainly could be worth applying for and see what the system says. But that's a good question. I don't know exactly how that would work if it's more than 48 months or 24 months.
But they still would be eligible for guaranteed, right?
Absolutely. Yes.
Okay.
So that's the beauty of it, right? You can always quote them the guaranteed price and say, look, I know I can get you this price, but let's go through the simplified issue and try and save us 30, 40 bucks a month if we can qualify for something a little cheaper. It's the same exact coverage. It's just a lower premium. Because on the guaranteed issue, we're not asking any health questions at all. So as the carrier, we assume that they're in a wheelchair, they have an oxygen tank, they probably have AIDS, something like that, right? So we're assuming the worst on that guaranteed issue. With the simplified issue, even if it's the graded offer, at least we've had a chance to ask them some medical questions. We got to peek at their prescription drug history. So as the carrier, we feel much more comfortable offering that same coverage amount for a lower premium. Because with the guaranteed issue, we're very much in the dark on that. The client can be ready to kick the bucket tomorrow. So they sign up, they make 1 month premium, and that's why they have that graded death benefit, right? To protect the insurance company. So we're not on the fence for a $25,000 payout, if they made 1 month payment. Do you guys have any questions on how the graded death benefit works? Are you guys familiar with that?
Why don't you walk through it?
Yeah, it'd be good to walk through.
Yeah. So essentially what that does, and let me see if I can find a better slideshow for you to show you. But essentially what it means is during the first 2 years, if the client were to pass away, instead of the face amount of the policy, they get their premiums back plus 10%. Once they make it out of that 2-year window, then the full face amount is guaranteed. So I like to use an example. If they had a $10,000 policy, they pay $100 a month, and 6 months in, they pass away. They're not going to get the $10,000. They get their $600 back plus $60 on top. So their death benefit is $660. Now, if they make it out of the 2 years, let's say they die in year 3, we're going to honor the full $10,000, right? Because they cleared that 2-year window. But we also have a rule that if they die in an accidental death during those first 2 years, we still honor the full face amount. So if they get in a car accident or something unexpected happens, they are protected for the amount that they purchased right from day one. But if it's just the way the insurance company has to protect themselves by not asking any health questions or very little health questions, we have that 2-year rule.
Yep. How does that impact commissions, Brennan?
So death impacts commissions pretty strongly. If the client passes during the first year, it's going to be 100% chargeback. If they die in year 2, it is a 50% chargeback. Anything after year 2, you're fine.
That's for graded only or for both?
Correct. Yeah, graded only. Level coverage, you're going to be okay. You're going to be as earned. So we do an advancement on commissions as well. So we're going to give you guys a 9-month advance. I believe you're set up for that. I should have checked.
Yes,
But
we are. Yep.
okay.
We are.
Yeah, so you guys are gonna get a 9-month advance, and it's always as earned. So if the client cancels the policy, let's say month 6, we're gonna charge you back the 3 months extra that you did not earn, but you're not gonna get charged back the whole thing. Now, death is 100% chargeback for year 1, 50% year 2. Again, only for the graded options, but the level coverage is just they'll charge you back whatever's unearned essentially if they cancel the policy during this first 9 months.
Perfect.
What about non-death benefits, living benefits, anything?
Yeah, great question. So the guaranteed issue product is going to have a couple living benefits, and so does the simplified issue, but they do work very different from each other. So let me kind of give you a quick little rundown of these ones. All right. And this is what I was looking for before. This is also going to explain the graded death benefit. So again, during years 1 and 2, the death benefit essentially is 110% of whatever they've paid in. But to answer your question, Joel, the guaranteed issue product comes with a chronic illness rider and a terminal illness rider, and these are included at no additional cost. I don't think they're available in California, so I know a lot of you guys are on the West Coast, so just keep that in mind. The product is available, just not the riders. But the chronic illness rider is essentially if the client cannot do 2 out of 6 activities of daily living, like eating, bathing, dressing yourself, then they can claim as chronically ill. And that's going to return 100% of their premiums that they paid in up to 25% of the face amount. So we have that same example, a $10,000 policy. We pay $100 a month. 6 months in, I claim as chronically ill. I'm only going to get access to the $600 that I've put in, right? The remaining balance will still go to my beneficiary whenever I pass away. But if I wait, let's say 3 or 4 years, and now I've put already, $4,800 in after 4 years of $100 payments, then I can get access to 25% of my face amount, which is going to be $2,500 of a $10,000 policy. The remaining $7,500 will carry over to my beneficiary once I pass away. But this gives them a chance to get a little bit of that money for themselves. They can spend it on anything they want. It does not have to go to medical expenses, which is nice. And then the terminal illness works very similar. If they have a 2-year life expectancy or less, they get half their death benefit now while they're still living. The other half will go to their beneficiary once they pass away. But let me touch on the simplified issue because those riders work a little bit differently. There's not going to be a leftover amount going to the beneficiary. If they exercise one of the riders on simplified issue, it's going to end the policy. But it is a little bit more aggressive, right? So let me, oops, that's not the right one. Let me show you one more here. Sorry. Stop sharing. Writers. Okay. So the simplified issue, if it's the graded offer of the product, it's not going to come with any riders. It's only available for level death benefit. But instead of having a chronic illness rider, they replaced it with a nursing home confinement rider, which basically just means that the insured is chronically ill. They've been confined to a nursing home environment for 90 consecutive days, and they're expected to live there for the remainder of their life. So if they are essentially stuck in a nursing home type of environment, they can go ahead and exercise this rider. And this rider is going to give them 2/3 of the death benefit, or 67%, minus a $100 fee. So we have an example. The client has a $25,000 death benefit. They exercise the nursing home rider. They are going to walk out with $16,650. But there is no leftover going to the beneficiary. This will end the policy. And then they also have a terminal illness rider. Again, only available on level death benefit. But this one is a 12-month life expectancy or less, as opposed to 24 that we had on guaranteed issue. And it works just like that nursing home rider. If they have a 1-year life expectancy or less, they can exercise the terminal illness rider, and they're going to get 98% of their death benefit minus the $100 fee. So we have an example down here of a $30,000 death benefit. The client uses terminal illness, and they walk out with $29,300. Right, so it's a little bit more aggressive, obviously, just because as the insurance company, we know we're paying that $30,000 death benefit at some point over the next year. Save $700 if we give it to them early, essentially. And then also available on that level death benefit option, because again, this one is day 1 coverage. you have an optional rider you can add as accidental death. And this works like a true accidental death rider. So if they die in an accidental death and they have that rider on their policy, it will double the death benefit. So we have a $10,000 death benefit, client dies in an accident, we're paying $20,000, right? And this works really well for a client that maybe needs $20,000 in coverage, but they can only afford 10. You buy the 10,000, you add for an extra couple dollars a month the accidental death rider, and that way, if anything unexpected or unforeseen happens, they're still protected for 20,000 without trying to pay for a $20,000 policy, or if they can't afford it. One thing to keep in mind with this accidental death rider is this rider will turn off at when the insured reaches the age of 80. So you're not allowed to sell this rider past age 75 just for that reason alone. But once they hit age 80, the rider is going to terminate off of the policy. But this rider is also commissionable, right? Because it will add a few dollars more to their monthly premium. You obviously, your commission will go up a little bit as well. But this is a very affordable rider. It's usually somewhere between $2 to $5 a month. So it's a good value add for those clients that are looking for some extra protection. But that's all the riders that we have here. So, but we also do limited pay feature. This is a little bit unique to us. But once a client reaches a certain age, they've already put enough money into the policy to cover the cost of that policy for life. So with the simplified issue, the client always has it paid off at age 95 or sooner. Meaning if they happen to live to be 100 or 110, right, those last few years, they're not making any premium payments. They're still protected. They have whole life coverage. But this way, you know, if they live to be 110, they don't put 50,000 into a policy that's going to pay them 25,000, because that doesn't make sense, right? So, and then our guaranteed issue product has the same feature, and that one's always paid off at age 90 or sooner. So they're never going to make any premium payments into their 90s on the guaranteed issue. Simplified issue is 95. And males tend to have it paid off a little sooner than females. So depending how old they are, if they buy the policy when they're in their early 50s, they'll have it paid off in their early 80s usually. But just keep that in mind. That's just a kind of a cool feature there that, you know, if their health improves or they happen to live longer than expected, they're not putting 2 or 3 times the death benefit in for a policy that's only going to pay them 25,000. Any more questions?
Not seeing anything else in there.
That's
No,
awesome,
not-
Brendan. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. If you guys do come up with questions after we wrap up, we'll make sure we can we'll get them funneled over to Brendan and out there to the group as well. Yep. But guys, what an awesome opportunity with this product. You know, cross sell in your existing book. But especially as we watch these new lead sources kind of bubbling up, what a great product and a powerful name to attach to. So Brendan, thank you so much.
Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
And Paul, I'll send you some good resources to your email if you can maybe distribute it out to the team.
Yeah, very cool.
As well.
Yeah, we were just
that way you guys can have a copy of that PowerPoint that we walk through, things like that.
Very cool.
Just to help you guys out.
Brendan, thanks again for joining us, man. I know this was somewhat on short notice for you, but we appreciate it.
All right, it's all good. We love opportunities like this.
Thanks, pal.
Very good.
Appreciate it. Brendan, try to stay cool in your 110 degrees, my friend.
I'm working on it.
Brendan, I meant to ask you, what's it like being a Philly Eagles fan in Texas?
It's not as bad as you think, to be honest. I mean, they're not as passionate about their sports teams as Philadelphia is, obviously. So the World Series, though, was pretty fun when we had the Phillies against the Astros a couple years ago. That was interesting. A lot of trash talking on that one for sure. I came out on the wrong side of it, but you know.
I had to ask.
Yeah,
all right,
for sure. Great question. All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Brendan. Take care.
Thank you, Brendan.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks everyone for joining. I know the product training is not always the funnest thing in the world to go through, but I thought Brendan did a great job. Amazing features that product has, and as Dave mentioned, great opportunity. I do want to reiterate, if you have your eyes on that cruise, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We'll try and get you teed up with some tools and put you on a pathway here in these final 4 weeks to get yourself on that ship. That's all I had.